All right, a dominant, convincing win by the Georgia Bulldogs today over the Florida Gators. 43-20 was the final score. This one was over early. The Dogs came out and played like the #1 team in the country, just throttled them. This game was a blowout. They ended up winning by 23 points, but it looked a lot worse than that. Florida got off to, a good start. They scored a touchdown on their opening drive, but that was as good as it got. Georgia went on to score the next 36 points, and they ran away with this one. And it felt at the half, when I think they were just up 19, I think it was 26-7, the game felt over. And it's felt that way multiple times here in the last several years. Listen, Kirby Smart knows how important this game is. These players know how important this game is. They don't like Florida. This is the biggest game of the season. This is the biggest rivalry they have all year. And they're not losing to Florida anytime soon. And we kind of saw that coming. I picked Georgia to cover 14.5. They did that easily. But all three, phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams, Georgia was better than Florida. They outplayed the Gators. They outcoached them. Carson Beck had a phenomenal game. Again, over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think we have to start the Heisman conversation and put Carson in it at this point. As big as the game is, he plays his best. When the game matters, Auburn, second half of South Carolina, all day today, Carson plays his best when his best is needed. Another 300-yard game, multiple touchdown game. At some point, we need to start talking about Carson Beck being in the Heisman conversation. But without Brock Bowers, best player in college football, Carson Beck and Mike Bobo did a phenomenal job game planning the last 2 weeks. And whatever the game plan was, specifically, they executed it to perfection. Offensively, Georgia came out, field goal, touchdown. They block a punt, get a safety, and before you know it, again, they're up, 26-7 going into the half. And I'm starting to write my story that you can read right now over on Dog Post. But just that was as convincing as you're going to get. And if there were any doubters about this Georgia team, you shouldn't have them anymore. They played like the best team in the country out here, and it looked like they played with a chip on their shoulder. There are still some people in the national media putting Georgia at 6, right? Number 5, barely inside the top 4 in their own personal rankings. But Georgia proved today that they are truly an elite football team. They should be number 1, and they gave performance today that you would expect from a number 1 team in the country. They got after Graham Mertz. Defensively, that's the best we've seen them play all season. Again, they played base defense to start, to feel Florida out a little bit, but after Florida got in the end zone, which we've seen teams do, teams will score on Georgia on that first possession because those are the plays that they practice all week long. But when Georgia makes their adjustments, it's over. It's ball game, and it is really tough to score against these guys for 4 quarters. Florida couldn't do it. They scored on their opening possession. Again, Georgia just dominated basically the rest of the game. They went up 36-7 at one point. The game was over a long time ago, probably 2 hours ago. This game was over because they're the number 1 team in the country, and Florida's not as deep. They're not as talented. They're not as well coached. And Georgia's defense proved that they might be the best in college football. They got after Graham Mertz, made a lot of plays in the backfield, 8 tackles for a loss, I think 4 sacks. A lot of young players played as well. Damon Wilson made some plays. Jalen Walker in his second year had a big play early in the ball game, forcing a fumble. Michael Williams had half a sack. Javon Dumas-Johnson increases his sack total from the linebacker position. They were fast, physical. They were flying around the football field today. They played as well as anyone could have asked Georgia to play today. I mean, they get an A+ for everything they did. And it starts with coaching. They had the game plan. They knew what to do, and they were easily the more physical team. And we said that this past week. The only 2 physical teams that Florida's played all year, they got run out of the building. Maybe not against Utah, but against Kentucky we saw that, and you knew that Georgia was the bigger, stronger, faster, more physical football team, and they proved it out here today, just making Florida go backwards. There was, on occasion, the Gators found a little success in the run game. I think they rushed for over 100 yards. A lot of that was in garbage time, though, but it's still hard to run on this Georgia defense consistently. C.J. Allen made some plays, true freshman linebacker. Kristen Miller, I thought, played very well. Tyke Smith played well. Javon Bullard had a big hit. Kamari last year. I mean, the guys made plays defensively. There's no doubt about it. On offense, Oscar Delp had a nice game, one-handed snag early in the game that I thought was really important. Ladd McConkey is back. Ladd McConkey is healthy. Ladd McConkey is still very, very good. He's one of the best wide receivers in college football. His ability to run a route, create separation, after the catch, what he's able to do. But he's such a crafty, natural receiver, and he's a big play waiting to happen. Dom Lovett, I think, led the team in receptions. I don't have the final stats in front of me. I'm trying to make this video as quick as I can for y'all, but if you're a Georgia fan, it doesn't get a whole lot more satisfying than this. This is Georgia's third consecutive win over the Gators, 6 out of 7. They lead the all-time series 56-44-2 right now. So if you're a Georgia fan, you've got a lot of Florida buddies, you're happy tonight. You are celebrating, you're partying hard. And that's what we've seen kind of the last several years. I did not cover this game in 2020, but the first game was 2017. So 2017, 2018, those felt like more blowouts. 2019 was closer. But this game was over at the half in 21, and it was over early last year, and it was over early again this year. They have made it a point in the entire program. We're not losing to Florida. We're not doing it. We're not going backwards. They have dominated this rivalry, it seems, almost every year. I know the Gators won in 2020, but it's not going to be like that anytime soon, and that's kind of what I wrote about. Billy Napier's got a long way to go to build a team that is as talented, as deep from top to bottom as the Georgia Bulldogs are. So as long as Kirby Smart is running this program, which I think he will for a long, long time, it's going to be hard for anyone, to beat Georgia. But this year, they're playing better and better. Carson Beck is playing better and better. The defense looks like it's playing better and better. And they could have played better out here. Carson Beck wasn't perfect, still a little off on some of the deep passes. So you can still see that there's a lot to clean up, and this team can still get a lot better. They look like the number one team in the country tonight. It's going to be real tough for anyone to have beaten Georgia in this stadium tonight, whether it was Florida or whoever. It was going to be tough for anyone to beat Georgia, especially when they have 2 weeks to prepare and get healthy. Are you kidding me? They're on a mission right now. They're playing like it, and I think that bye week did come at the perfect time, as it usually does, but they have their sights on another special season, and you could tell that out here. The staff was going nuts at the end. When they were in victory formation, you could hear Mike Bobo and the offensive staff. They're right next to the press box. They were yelling and hooting and hollering. This game means so, so much. And for them to come out here and give that type of performance for 3 years in a row against their biggest rival here in Jacksonville, nothing like it. It just says, how far this program has come and how good they can be. They are on the top of the mountain right now in college football, and they are dominating this series. Kirby's now 6-2 against the Gators. He lost that first season. He lost in 2020, but it's going to take a lot for Florida to get past Georgia. But Kendall Milton ran hard. Dejan Edwards rushed for just under 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's still very, very good. They spread the ball out, and I thought Dom Lovett made some nice catches, but you never would have thought they were missing the best player in college football today. The way they moved the ball, the way they found the end zone, the way they put up 43 points. They're only going to get better when Brock Bowers comes back too, but they proved to everyone, and I talked about this and I wrote about this. This program is more than one player, and your best player, arguably, the best player in college football goes down, and they're still going up and down the field, making it look easy at times too. And Florida's got a talented defense, and Carson carved him up a little bit. Kind of a homecoming game for him. 300 yards, multiple touchdowns. Dejan Edwards running for 2 touchdowns. Kendall Milton rushing for a touchdown. Made plays on special teams. This was a total, complete win over their biggest rival. Just massive, massive win. Could not ask for much more. I think they're the number 1 team in the country. I think they played like it today. And when they go on a run where they score 36 unanswered points and put the game away before the half, and you could feel it too. This was a blowout. This was just a dominant curb stopping, if you want to call it. I'm coming down right now. We got to leave wrapping this up. Georgia wins 43-20. Really appreciate y'all watching, and hope to see you over on the website.